All
Can,
right. Oh, we are live. Look how fast that is. Hey, everyone. How are you today? I am Lana Quest, your host, and this is The Quest Show. And look who we have with us.
are you kidding me? This is my first time on the Quest show. I'm looking around. It is beautiful in here.
Yeah, isn't it beautiful in here?
You've done great things with the place. I am
You know,
so very
how'd you like the
excited to
green
be
room?
on this side.
How'd you like the green room? The
The green
snack,
room was great. The
all
food
the
was
snacks.
great. Drinks,
Yeah.
I might have had one too many, but it was great. I appreciate you coming in. Before we get started, I got to tell you a very quick thing. You know, I had technical difficulties last night and I had to do the iPad.
Yeah.
I'm uninstalling cameras all night. I'm trying to figure it out. I just realized the little button up top needed to be moved over. It was blocking my camera. That was all it was.
Is that a joke?
No, that's not a joke. That's 100% true. Took me 2 hours to figure out. All I had to do is move that little button over. So I continue to not be anywhere near as smart as you, and I'm an idiot.
No, I don't even know how to do this kind of stuff. But anyway, guys, we are here. We are going to have a great show. I know you don't want to hear the two of us ramble because you probably heard the two of us ramble last night on the Black and White show. But we are here again today because we love each other.
Yeah, we do.
We're here again today. But today, we are going to have a special show. We have a special guest today. He has been a guest of the Quest show a couple of times. This may be his third time on. Steve Holden. He is running for United States House of Representatives, New York 21. And he is running against, who's he running against, Brian?
Elise Stefanik, maybe one of the worst people in Congress right now. And
next to Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? Like when I think about Elise, like I think about Marjorie Taylor Greene and then I want to barf. Like I just have like double barf kind of feeling. But yes, so Steve is backstage. We're going to get a chance to talk to him. Maybe he'll tell us a little about his background, what he's learned from running before, because that is one of my questions. You hear me, Steve? You know, because he's a pro at this point. So like, what are you going to do differently this time than what you did before? So that's like my first question. So without further ado, unless you have something else to chit chat about, Brian.
I was going to say, I'm looking forward to talking to Steve. I think we have a lot of good questions for him that I think is going to give us a lot of great answers as to why we should be voting for him.
Absolutely. And please like this video, share it, and subscribe. Put that notification bell on. So when Steve comes back on, you will know because you will be notified. And also, Blake, his campaign manager, is with us too. So we can't leave Blake out. Here we go. Hold on. You know what it says? Kick from studio. So does that mean he's kicking here? Because I hope so.
Oh, I don't know if we want to kick him from the studio.
Oh, add to stage.
There you go.
Add to stage. Okay, I'm coming, Blake.
Hey. We're 2 for 2.
Family. Hi, Steve. Hi, Blake. I'm glad you guys are here.
Hey, again, Brian. Hey, thanks for having us on again. You know, I enjoyed my last couple times on here. The last time I ran, when I was just kind of introducing myself to folks, and then, as you know, the second time we kind of did a follow up. So, for the listeners out there that haven't heard me before, if you listen to my accent, it doesn't sound like upstate New York. I was born and raised in Oklahoma on a dairy farm. I'm also so like a lot of Oklahomans, I am of Native American descent, Cherokee, Cheyenne, Arapaho, and Choctaw with my mother. And that's something I'll talk about a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But I was on here for the listeners. I was on here last time actually talking about the trip, kind of a pilgrimage we made to Black Wall Street.
Right.
And just some of the great conversations they had there, particularly with a lady there who, longtime member of the community there, African-American lady, just beautiful human being. and the reactions between her and my mother since she's been really reclaiming her Native American heritage. It was just a beautiful conversation there between two ladies that ended up having more in common than what maybe they thought before. And it was just a beautiful conversation there. And, we can talk about, because like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on, conversations about communities of color and thriving that's either been, in the press or in the media, in movies and such and so forth and so on that we can talk about. But like I said, I ran. So everybody out there, my name is Stephen W. Holden Sr. I go by Steve. And I am a retired Army Lieutenant Colonel as well. I did 2 combat tours in Iraq, 2 in Afghanistan, and 1 again as a contractor where I helped get about 125 Afghans, that's interpreters and their families, here to the United States when we left Afghanistan. And I can talk about that too as well, about the truth behind what really happened there. Which is not heard in the media very much, and it's more toward what we believe. And so I'm running again in NY21. It's a large district. It's one of the largest districts east of the Mississippi, maybe either the largest or second largest. All are parts of 14 counties.
Wow.
Upstate New York. With redistricting, it's going to get bluer.
Nice.
So it's not a ruby red. It's more of a pink. And you get the right type of person, particularly a veteran. And you have a Native American community there that hardly ever votes, that we get motivated to get out. And we have a lot of colleges and universities with college students that don't get out to vote. We can get out there, motivate them against a term I just came up with, mega MAGA, which is really kind of the, in bizarro world, you call them rock stars of the MAGA world, but, Elise Stefanik is definitely a part of that. I was raised on a dairy farm, like I said, and so we bring the hard work to this, the daily discipline that's going to take to pull this off. And we have a great team that's able to do that. I'm a dad. I'm a proud dad. I have a son, daughter, stepson who's in the Air Force. Proud of all of them. I remember last time, if I remembered, I'm a proud grandfather.
I do remember.
And my grandson will be 8 this year. And he is a little version of his grandpa.
Nice.
And I'm reminded of that by my daughter. So, and I'm a graduate. So being up there in New York, I'm a graduate of Syracuse University. The Maxwell School there. That's how I got to New York. My wife's a native New Yorker. She's a veteran as well. Her name's Julie. And as well as her family are all she's a veteran. They're all veterans and everything. She's also of Mohawk heritage as well. And that's something that she is very proud of, which is it's the Mohawks that are in the district. And we believe that's going to motivate them. That they will have a solid voice there in Congress that's going to listen to their concerns. But this is a great district. It's a beautiful district. Whereas last time I was running, we were running what was called the Lake District. This is the Mountain District.
Okay.
I like to call it. And it goes all the way across the Canadian border through on the side there of Vermont. So there are a lot of progressives over in that area. A lot of people who are a lot like Vermonters over there. And all the way through there, to include a major military installation, which I'm sure we're going to talk about, military and veterans issues, and both my stance on it and my opponent's lack of stance on it. Like I said, I'm excited again, Lana and Brian, to be back on. Like I said, I told my team, we're going to get on here to start the new year. I want to get on with Lana like I did last time, and I want to thank you for having me on last time and the support you gave us last cycle as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, because that's so important. Like, we kind of made it a mission to contact, candidates that weren't getting the support, like candidates that you really didn't hear about. Like that was just so important to get you guys and to bring you on and to like, retweet you and get your message out there and ask for donations. Like, it's like those little things. That's the grassroots part.
Lana, you're absolutely correct. And, it's like we were saying before we came on, and we say here in this campaign, we tell donors and supporters, the road to retaking the House of Representatives runs through New York. Mm-hmm. And I think it's been well written about across the country during the last cycle of what happened in New York. And we can talk a little bit about that and what was kind of a lesson learned as a party here, and the support that we as candidates running across the state are going to be getting now to run in these races. And we would view this as a high profile race. We're going up against a high profile Republican,
one of the highest,
but someone who doesn't fit the personality of this district in the least.
Yeah.
So, but we're going to bring that forward. So, again, glad to be on.
Let's ask you some questions. Brian, do you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah. You made a description of your district there. It's very close to Canada, very rural area. You grew up in Oklahoma, from what you said. And it seems to me like the district that you're in, obviously way different than the neighboring city down south in New York. So it seems to me like that district aligns a lot more with your upbringing and the fact that you are a military man. And it's my understanding you do have a lot of military people in that district as well. So my question is there seems to be a perception that the military people are Republicans and the military people are only beloved by the Republicans, and that the Democrats are not big military people. And what do you say to your people there to change any perception, or are you seeing that is opposite from what I am saying?
All I got to say is what we say with Elise Stefanik is we have the receipts. we see a record.
Yeah.
So there's a saying we have in the Army. It's called selling wolf tickets. And what it means is you're all talk and no action.
Mm-hmm.
So if y'all remember from the last cycle, you had the PACT Act, and where it's not just for people like me who are Iraq or Afghanistan veterans.
Yep.
I'm on the burn pit registry. I actually do have scarring in my lungs because of it. My father-in-law, the Vietnam vet with exposure to Agent Orange. It's starting to come out more that once you peel back, the issue that we have with a lot of veterans is they'll run to the gun issue very first. And what I tell them is I said, look, here's the deal. Which is more important to you? Your health, putting food on your table, and being able to survive and thrive, or owning a gun, which, oh, by the way, we've never came and took from you.
Correct. And nobody ever is coming to take from you.
And no, it's not. And we just had a shooting in Iowa.
Yeah.
One of the reasons we had an issue last time is that we ran crime. They're coming up from the city to come get us, and they're taking their guns. No, it happens in rural America too. Again, just look at the shooting today. Right. That was in rural Iowa.
Right.
It happens everywhere. But no, we aren't doing it. And so what we do is disarm them a little bit and go, hey, look, I'm a veteran. I'm a farm kid. All right. That's not happening. Now, do we need reform? We absolutely 100% need reform. And even here's the thing, most Republicans, gun owners, and members of the NRA believe this.
Correct.
This is a 90-10, 80-20 issue.
Right.
This is what I call an American issue. It's not a Republican or Democratic. This is an American.
Right.
We all have kids and grandkids and nieces and nephews. We don't want to see them. No, That's not the way it works. Once you peel back from that, then you take down and you go, okay, now let's start to talk. Now let's talk about health care. Okay. My opponent voted against it. By the way, a lot of them did.
Yeah.
Okay. It was bipartisan, but the ones who I've had interactions with on the campaign trail, both last cycle and this cycle, did it. As well. And I know to a lot of listeners are kind of layperson, they don't really kind of understand. There's a lot of people out there who have misconceptions about the military, that they believe it's such a MAGA people. It's not.
Right.
It's not. What you have, a lot of people are independents.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you a case in point. I worked for H.R. McMaster and former SecDef Mattis. I worked for both of them. And I can absolutely 100% say they're not MAGA people.
Mm-hmm.
What they are, and most of them are independents.
Mm-hmm.
They just look at service. And if you strip it back to that and you go, hey, look, do you want to vote for the person who isn't going to raise your pay or is not going to improve your housing there at Fort Drum, which, oh, by the way, is the major installation there. It's the largest military installation in the northeastern United States. If they aren't willing to do that, are they really for you or are they not?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's something that if you talk to military leaders, the big thing for there is you take care of their troops.
I'd like to ask a quick follow-up too, because like I said, I was talking about the perception, and you see on Fox News and you see all these places saying stuff like the military is weakened, the military is going woke, the military is doing all this garbage. And you have people, and these are supposed to be the people on the side of the military, but they are disparaging the military in any way they can, only to make a president look bad or a side look bad. Yes. I mean, how do you address that?
Well, it's
and
very,
that's got to make you angry as somebody that was in the service.
Oh, it very much does.
Yeah.
I grew up, so I'm 51, and I grew up during a time where I continually was told, if you're military, you're Republican. Why? Because they stand with the troops. That's not the case today.
At all.
Yeah. And so we'll get into this, or depending when you want to. And so I do contract work with the Pentagon. Mm-hmm. And I will absolutely 100% tell you they are not happy with congressional Republicans at all. And these are people who might be conservatives. They might be progressives. They might be, most of them are apolitical. They don't want to do with any of this stuff.
Right.
But you're holding up promotions because of a healthcare policy.
Right.
You have issues with diversity, equity, inclusion. I'm sorry. When you have a military that looks like our country, people buy into it. Just ask people back during Vietnam about how that worked.
Right.
Okay. Is that, if our military looks like our country has buy-in. And when we decide to send them off to senseless wars somewhere, then we're going to have, people have a buy-in on it and go, wait a minute, so we actually look like our country.
Well, that's exactly what they don't want. They don't want the military to look like the company. That goes in line with them trying to whitewash history. Like they're just trying to change everything and make America great again. Like other America.
What it is making America weaker.
Oh, yeah.
It's not making America strong in any sense of the word. And I have friends who are allies, friends of mine who are members of the military across the world. And it doesn't matter what their personal political leanings, they go, what's going on there? Why are they attacking your military? And I think people from Australia, from the UK, from Canada, wherever, it's like, what's going on there?
I mean, but what did we expect? Trump started, like, he came down and started talking about Gold Star families. Like, that's why he attacked them.
John McCain.
Who attacked John McCain?
And here's the point behind all of this, is that you have people, I mean, those type of people are sacrosanct. Those type of, you don't mess with Gold Star families.
Right.
You don't.
Right.
You don't mess with Medal of Honor winners. You don't do it. President Obama was great about it. They said, look, he goes, there were some Medal of Honor awardees who I awarded who disagreed with me on things, but I gave them the space to do it because I think they kind of earned that.
Right.
Even though they disagreed with what I was saying, I respected the fact that they said it and gave them the space to say it. Now that doesn't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and like I said, if you want to go into the thing that I have been working on, we could do that too right now. If you all do want to do that. I
had that written down too. The work you were doing with the Pentagon, as far as trying to get more inclusion and trying to change that narrative.
Yeah, we can segue into that, and then we'll segue into something else. So go right ahead.
So for those of you that are out there, I recently did work with the Department of the Army on the Army's renaming commission from renaming things from it's not just bases, but all assets that honored the Confederate States of America. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to give you a guess as to how my opponent voted on this.
I think we know. Yeah.
And she is from New York, not Alabama, not Mississippi, not Georgia, New York, where there are Reserve and National Guard units that trace their lineage back to the Union during the Civil War. Yeah. So what I did is I worked on the Army's renaming commission to renaming Confederate assets to people who I like to say weren't traitors to our country. Mm. And I know a lot of this came about, and a lot of this impetus came back from what happened with George Floyd. And the conversation really started, and the work that was done there, first by Admiral Howard, the Navy's first African American female 4-star admiral. She chaired the commission. And by the way, I've sat in briefings with her. Probably one of the smartest people I've ever met on the face of this earth. She has like a background in nuclear engineering, and I'm like, my head explodes on it. But the talk had been going further because we would have military officers that would come over here and go see pictures of Robert E. Lee or Stonewall Jackson and go, in our country, we would never honor traitors.
Right.
And I know that we're coming up on January 6th. I know we're going to get to that too. So we did is we renamed with just the Army side of it, 9 military installations, 6 vessels, and all assets, streets, buildings, road, whatever it was, name it and get rid of it.
Yeah.
And paintings. We had a painting sitting in the Pentagon of why is his name escaping me? The Confederacy, President of the Confederacy.
Stonewall Jackson?
No, not Stonewall Jackson.
Robert Lee.
My brain is going off here.
Hey, you know what? It's good because anytime we can forget any of these figures, it's a good thing.
It was the President of the Confederacy. Bottom line is his picture was out there. I don't know why it's escaping my brain right now. Those things gone. Why they need to be gone? So I a good friend of mine who recently got promoted to full colonel, and on my social medias, you take a look at it, longtime friend of mine, great leader, great officer. His sons are rising up through the ranks in the military as well. He said, do you know what it's like as an African-American man to serve on an installation named after someone who thought I was a piece of property?
Yeah.
To me, it has to do with dignity and respect. And one of the installations is named after a gentleman by the name of Henry Johnson, Sergeant Henry Johnson from World War I. He was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor from President Obama. He is the only member of the New York National Guard to ever receive the Medal of Honor. Fort Polk, Louisiana is now Fort Johnson, Louisiana. Guess who voted against it?
Your opponent?
Elise?
Exactly. So I have to ask the question. And I think we really need to start asking this question now. Are we for people that stand for America and the Constitution of the United States and are willing to defend it, or against traitors?
All right.
And that goes right into January 6th as well. To me, this is synchronous. That's exactly what it is. Jefferson Davis was the name I was thinking of. Jefferson Davis. Yep. He was actually the Secretary of War before the Civil War, and he betrayed his oath to the Constitution of the United States. So I have to ask that question because there were veterans who were there on January 6th. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
That was one of my questions for you too. It's, again, that's got to be very upsetting for you as a veteran when you see other veterans attacking their own country.
To me, and here's the thing about so it's a couple things. Number one, you took an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. You just looked to overturn the Constitution of the United States because you didn't get what you wanted. And oh, by the way, if those folks ever tried to get a security clearance, one of the questions that's asked on any security clearance, and I just want to let those out there know that I don't have classified material stored in my latrine back here. I just want people to know that. Yeah. All right. Which, by the way, if I did that or any member of Fort Drum did that, they would be in jail right now.
Correct.
Waiting trial. When I see that, they can't get a security clearance because one of the questions is, have you ever been involved with an organization that advocated for the violent overthrow of the federal government?
Come on, Steve. That was a picnic.
That was just legitimate political doors.
Yeah.
Picnic.
They were tourists or Antifa or BLM. They don't even know.
It's the FBI.
Yeah.
So if your viewers, if the audience doesn't know, and Blake, you may not there, when you have members of the Proud Boys doing what's called a stack. So I started my career as an infantryman. I know what a stack is. That's where you saw them one arm against each other, trying to breach, using military terminology to breach the doors.
And tactics, yeah.
Exactly. I am going, every single one of you are no longer deserve to call yourself a veteran and no longer deserve to associate yourself with the United States of America.
Absolutely.
And I have no qualms saying that because you call yourself Oath Keeper, you violated your oath to the Constitution of the United States.
It was an oath to Trump.
And then speaking of Trump, we have people who are now calling them patriots.
Right.
They're not even traitors. They are patriots.
Right.
No, a patriot.
Up is down and down is up, man.
Yeah.
A patriot is someone like Sergeant Hank Johnson, who saved the life of two of his comrades while storming a German machine gun nest in World War I.
Yeah.
It's not them.
Wow.
And they can tell themselves that. And this is coming to me, and I'll tell you, some of them I will run out the campaign trail, and I've flipped some of them. They may even still vote for Trump, but they're going to vote for me because I said, look, because they respect the fact that I'm a senior military officer, and I say, look, and I said, what are you doing?
Right.
Did you sign up for that oath to defend our country by trying to destroy the government? It doesn't make any sense.
None.
So, people can tell themselves that all day long. And I will tell you, not just infuriates, it breaks my heart.
Right.
It really does. I served under 4 different presidents, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans. And I still served with honor, with dignity. I wasn't a fan of the Iraq War because I thought it was a diversion from what we're trying to do in Afghanistan. And I thought it was a waste of our precious resources, human lives, our money, and just about everything on that. I do. And I actually have articles out there about that. But I served, no matter if I agreed or not. I did my mission because it's the Constitution. And I am to obey all orders of all officers appointed above me. That's in our oath. But by the way, that's also in the oath to people, members of Congress, too.
Yeah. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So if you still support that, and if you're supporting the overturning of an election because you're mad and you didn't get your way, that's childish,
Right.
and it's un-American.
Right. Yeah.
And I have no problem calling that out all day long and twice on Sundays, as my grandma used to say.
Yeah.
Yes.
So speaking of mega MAGA, to use your term, so we all know here, maybe you guys should know out there that Steve is running against Elise Stefanik. And Elise Stefanik, she's steeped in replacement theory, white nationalism, all of those conspiracy theories, like whatever it is, that is who she is. She was also instrumental in pushing the resignation of Claudine Gay, right? We heard her during that hearing.
Yes, we did.
So with someone like Elise Stefanik, right, mega MAGA, who just lies, like who says anything, how do you counter that? Because I feel like just Democrats as a whole have a hard time holding Trump's feet to the fire, right? Because he's a slippery eel. It's just lies are everywhere. So it's just hard to like correct one lie because he's off to another lie. And that's kind of who Elise is as well.
We tell the truth. It's very straight. You know, I was raised to believe that what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And what frustrated me about that, no, by the way, if the viewers don't see it, go catch, I'm giving a plug here for a TV show. Go watch SNL's parody of her. And she was so upset about it that she went on Fox News crying and whining about it.
Yeah.
So she come on there acting like she was this hero to the Jewish community. Oh, no.
Right.
You don't do that, Elise. Because let me talk about when you ran against my good friend Matt Castelli last time, and you were touting the great replacement theory, the same thing that they chanted at Charlottesville.
Right.
You also support a president who quotes Adolf Hitler.
Right.
You're number 2 person in the Republican primary who was the governor of a Confederate state who took down the Confederate flag on the South Carolina state grounds, can't talk about slavery. Your number 3 choice believes that slavery was good for black people.
Can parlay those skills. That's right.
Taught you those skills. Why you probably didn't know. She taught you some skills. You know, where we've lost our collective minds. And these are people that want to call themselves the party of Lincoln.
Right.
Lincoln's rolling over in his grave. Eisenhower's rolling over his grave. Heck, I would even think that Reagan probably is. Those 3 would never get elected in this Republican Party.
No.
They wouldn't. Heck, the Bushes wouldn't.
Right. So awful. Like Martin Luther King Day is about to come. And I'm just like, I dread going on. I'm not going to call that X, Twitter. Like, I just dread it because where they come with all of the quotes, we saw a whole meme with Martin Luther King sitting next to Donald Trump. I'm like, I'm done. I can't even do this anymore. The nerve.
You know, and I will tell you, I was listening to the radio to we're talked about his one granddaughter. I believe she's like 15, 16 years old, something like that. Just inspirational young lady. Yes. And you look at that Contrast her with Kyle Rittenhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Contrast Amanda Gorman with Kyle Rittenhouse.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a dad. I would never raise my child to be like that.
Right.
And again, I grew up in conservative Oklahoma and was in the military, and I would never raise my child to be like that. Period. Again, I've always been a Democrat and on the more progressive side of the house, but still, there's a point as a parent where you have to take that. So I get that to that point. And the other thing is we need to start telling the truth in education, because I know that was another issue if we want to kind of pivot to education.
Right. Yes.
On there is that you can't have education until you tell the truth.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like I said, I'm sitting here in Tulsa. And like I said, I noticed some of the folks who remember me last time talking about this. When I was in school, do you think they taught us about the Tulsa Race Massacre or what happened with the movie that's been out here for a while, Killers of the Flower Moon?
Yeah.
Native Americans. You think we were ever taught about that in school?
No.
And
it was in your backyard.
It was right here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no more than 5 blocks from where I'm sitting right now.
Right.
And Osage County is just the largest county in the state of Oklahoma. And there aren't really what's called reservation lands in Oklahoma, like there are in a lot of other states. We have to teach the truth. Because if we don't teach the truth, there's a word for it. It's called lying.
Right.
About the whole thing about bearing false
the lies seem so loud. So like my thing is like, what is the messaging, right? Like,
what are they afraid of? What are you afraid of telling the truth?
Right.
Whether you are in a marriage or a friendship or a mother or work or whatever it is, if that's not based on trust and the truth, you're not going anywhere. We're not going to go anywhere in the country unless we start telling the truth. Number one. 2, we have a saying that people that ban books are never on the good side of things.
Correct.
So we need academic freedom for our students and our teachers.
Right.
And the other thing is we actually need to start paying our teachers a living wage. I'm going to tell something great here about Blake, who's my campaign manager and also a good friend of mine. His wife's a public school teacher. Blake, what does she teach again?
Special education in elementary school.
Even in a state like New York, we don't pay them what we should. It used to be a very respected field. I have a cousin, she's a school teacher. She's the first person ever to get a college degree in our family. And to generate my dad's generation. With me being the second. And those are pillars of the community. Now we have people that have them as pariahs.
Right.
Listen, you cannot deny education and then complain about poverty.
Right. Well, absolutely. So how do you change that? How do you support the teachers as, one
of the first things out there, and it's something very simple, something everything here can do here, support candidates out there from the school board through president who are going to stand up for teachers. And by the way, standing up for teachers is standing up for students. Okay. And you want to talk about it's also standing up for parents, not these other groups that are out there. It's actually standing up for that relationship. So that's number 1. 2, vote. One of the things that came out from my run last time in the other district was right after that, we had a number of people who were inspired by my run to get out there and run for something.
Right.
They beat, and listen, and this is in a red county, Wayne County, New York. They beat back numerous Moms for Liberty candidates. Numerous. Because there were people, Democrats, Republicans, independents that said, that's not what we want. That's not what we stand for. That's the way that you do it. And you do it by telling the truth.
Right.
You do and not shying away and punching back. Like when Elise Stefanik says she supports Jewish students and she supported the Great Replacement Theory no more than about a year and a half ago. And her opponent raised about $1 million in a day when she did it.
Wow.
And so
that's crazy.
You think people would learn,
right?
But look, it's the days of the internet. You can just look it up and find it. You can't run from it. She absolutely said it. So that is why and again, she supports a candidate that has quoted Adolf Hitler.
Yeah.
Even Ivana said that he read. He didn't read. We all know Trump doesn't read very much.
No.
But yeah. Outside of maybe a coloring book.
Right.
But on his nightstand, and I don't think it was Mein Kampf. I think it was Hitler's other books. I know some people said Mein Kampf.
Right.
It was his other one. The bottom line is, it's where he's calling people who disagree with him vermin.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And poisoning the blood. There's only one person there's only two people in the history of mankind that's ever said that. Adolf Hitler and Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And they have nowhere to say that they stand up for Jews.
Right.
No, you don't get to say that.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Well, we know she's a racist. We know she's a bigot. But let's dig into like policy and how the separation between the two. For instance, climate change, right? I'm pretty sure she doesn't care about the environment, any of those things. But how will you advocate? Because, you said New York 21 is rural. Is that a big rural space?
Yes, it is. It a lot of absolutely is. So here's what we do. So you have to be able to market and pitch this to different groups of people. Okay. If you're looking at building coalitions to getting your policies across, you have to be able to get different groups of people across to it. So for environmental advocates, I think it's pretty straightforward. We need to move to renewable energy and have good paying jobs that are coming to the districts, much like what they did with the CHIPS Act.
Right.
Okay. By the way, she voted against all of that stuff and then tried to take credit. So, by the way, we've called her out on that too. That's a slam dunk. But we're a couple of the big issues up there, like I said, is you have outdoor and gaming. And I'm going to tell you this: if you have polluted water and polluted land and polluted air, if you want to hunt and fish, the animals aren't coming. It's not happening. Right. Second, if you're a farmer, you want to grow good crops, good healthy crops. You want to run your cattle or run your livestock. You want to have poison water, air they can't breathe, and poison land that they go on. That's common sense. No, that's bad for your business. That's bad for your operation. The other thing is issues we have there is if you go across the district, you go across the state, you see a lot of windmills or turbines, by the way, which don't cause cancer. And two, solar farms. And it became kind of a contentious issue. But the way we're approaching it is like this. Hey, look, we're going to work. What I can do is I can work with Governor Hochul and with the folks in Albany and say, hey, look, maybe we need to look and put these some different places. Let's look at land that you're not using, which, by the way, you're losing. All right, farmer, you're losing, rancher, you're losing money. If you don't have that. And by the way, yeah, if electricity does go down to the city, guess what? You're making money off of it. You're growing your operation. You're diversifying. So if you have a bad year or if you have sickness that goes through your herd, you're not going to be hurt. You'll have backup revenue that's sitting right there. By the way, that's a lot of this passive revenue that you're going to have. You do have to maintain it like anything else, but you're now selling it. That's too easy. And this was a district that was hit really hard by those Canadian wildfires. So we need to, one of the things I want to do is actually meet with my Canadian counterparts to go, hey, look, what can you do on your side? What can we do on our side to solve this problem? Because like I said, it's a global issue.
Right.
And in this particular, so I don't have the dollar figures in front of me, but when that happened, that was the middle of the summer, prime tourism season. I can guarantee when the skies turn orange, and Blake, you know what I'm talking about. When the skies turned orange, nobody's going to the lake. Nobody's going up to the mountains.
Right.
Nobody's going hunting and fishing. It's not happening. So you have to sometimes, yes, it's an environmental justice issue, and it hurts communities of color even more.
Right.
It does, and it hurts rural communities as well. You also have to take a look from an economic standpoint, more of your Chamber of Commerce type folks, and go, wait a minute, he's right. We're going to lose money off of this if we don't do something. And, we need to invest in education, because that's actually going to have an educated workforce that allows us to innovate and grow.
Mm-hmm.
There's a term they call out in the country. It's called horse sense. And that's exactly what it is. And that's the way that we're going to bring it. That's the way we're going to bring it home to people. And we've already had people across the spectrum have us do that. And that's another great thing as we get out across the district is we have people, even in Republican areas, that say, we've never had anybody come talk to us. And come to find out, they actually have more in common with us than what you think.
Yeah.
Nobody goes and talks to them.
Wow.
And it's like, wow. So, it's a pretty cool thing. In fact, our campaigns kind of adopted one of their football teams there and one of their sports teams to do that I wear their stuff around the district and everything. But no, that's absolutely what it is. But that's how we get it out there. We get environmental justice out there.
Yeah. Got a question, Brian?
I do. Yeah. So I want to stick with the theme of, you brought up the truth quite a few times. And I mean, you being on this show and going around and talking to as many people as you can, we want you to win. It seems, there is an issue nowadays with the truth, and the truth seems to be muddled, and the truth requires a little bit more effort than lies. Lies are easy. Lies are easy to take in, and people almost want to hear those lies because it satisfies some sort of whatever it is inside of them. And that has been one of the hardest things to overcome. Now, of course, there is something else that a lot of people are not talking about, is Democrats are winning elections, election after election after election.
Thank you.
So we are getting the message out there, but you live in a district where it may be a little bit more difficult to get that truth out. From my understanding, Elise Stefanik, which, by the way, she lives in this rural area, but and I always hear, again, the Fox News people talking about the elites. She went to private school. She went to Harvard. She was very she grew up with a silver spoon in her mouth.
She was handed a job in the Bush administration while I was sitting in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And a whole lot of other people in this district were.
And I see that she won by 59%, I think, in her last. I'm sorry, we got to 59%. You don't want to know Ray Lewis's story here because
we have a star here. I'm a big. I'm not going to get distracted. I promise myself I'll not get distracted.
Well, I muted my microphone because my dog was snoring too. So, so anyway, what I was saying is that she won, I think, by 59% of the vote, which sounds like a lot, but at the end of the day, we just need to flip, a certain amount of people that seem that would be more in your, line of target than Elise Stefanik.
Yeah.
So, and here's the thing about it. With redistricting, it's going to get bluer.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, because there was a redistricting that I guess there was a mistake, or not a mistake. A few years ago, there was some redistricting going on that should not have happened, and now they flipped it back to something that's more.
I had another reason the Republicans muddled the water on this is I had to run against 5 different district lines. So you have 5 different constituencies that you're trying to talk to.
Right.
I don't care how good you are. That's a problem. I don't care if you're Barack Obama. That's hard.
Yeah.
To keep, because you just have to keep, and then it just comes down to who has more money. Right. And because we're grassroots, we don't take corporate PAC money. Yeah. We don't, because I have this whole thing of I should not take money from people who I'm going to have oversight of. That's called a conflict of interest. It's called having integrity.
Yeah.
So you asked about how we get that out there, because we don't have an actual major media market in our district. We have some that are very close, but there's none that sets there like Albany, Syracuse, Rochester, New York City, Buffalo. We don't have that. So what do we have to do? Is we have to get out there.
Yeah.
We have to go. We have to go out to things like the January 6th rally. We have to go up to Potsdam to talk about racial justice and racial and economic justice. We have to go up and talk to the Akwesasne Mohawks about what their issues are. By the way, they don't vote. You get them out to vote. Yeah. There's more that's going to help you.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And
the also is that people don't talk to the Federal Employees Union at Fort Drum. Those are my people.
Yeah.
And so we have left a lot on the table, a lot. So we go up and we basically pick up the poker chips on the table, and we can do this.
Right.
And we get a lot of naysayers because they look at, but here's the thing, when you're on the ground and you're talking to people, there's also this thing of having flesh in the game. It's like we heard this a lot last cycle. By the way, what hurt in New York last time was the Democrats didn't get out to vote.
Right.
It wasn't that. The Democrats didn't get out.
Why is that, do you think?
I think they got comfortable.
Yeah.
They were sitting here in blue New York and they go, okay, Albany just took care of gun reform. They just took care of the right to choose. We just took care of criminal justice reform. We're good.
Yeah.
And that's when the governor runs 20 points behind President Biden. So I tell people, if things would have been regular, you're not talking to me here as a challenger for Elise Stefanik. You're sitting here talking to me as a sitting member of Congress.
Yeah.
That would have happened all across the state because I won close to a quarter of the Republican precincts in that district.
Yeah. Because
I brought out that exact message.
Yep.
And a lot of them were people that just had never had no one's ever talked to them.
Right.
At the corner gas station, setting up in northeastern New York, no one's talked to him. It's the deputy mayor Blake and Fonda that no one's talked to. We walked into a VFW, and these are probably more what I would call Trump supporters. They gave us a full spaghetti dinner, bought a jacket, bought us a round of drinks.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's why they love Trump, right? It's like they feel like he's talking to them, whereas Democrats tend to talk at people because they want to do so much explaining, and I want to pull my hair out because I'm just like, oh my God. Oh, go ahead.
What was it that Malcolm X said? I'm going to break it down here into a language that you can easily understand.
Yeah, like you have to do that. I just want Biden to go to a black barbershop. Like, please just go to a barbershop and talk to some black people. Like, I know that he went to, was it Wisconsin, and talked to some black men. They talked about whatever the infrastructure bill, I don't know, whatever. But that's just not who you need, right? Because he's losing. Black men are just falling off. Like, they just, when you have black men talking about, I might as well support Trump because, he hasn't done anything to hurt me, you have a problem. Like, that's a group that we haven't as a Democratic Party tapped into yet, right? Like,
and more dudes need to get them a clear response.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And this is real easy where I come from. I go to the naming commission. Right. Some of those are veterans. Do you like serving on an installation named after somebody who thought you were property?
Right.
They'll go, no.
Right.
Well, then that particular person believes that. This is a party that can't even tell you the truth about slavery.
Right. Right.
And to me, how any African American can vote for that, is beyond my level of comprehension.
Right.
And that's what we as Democrats have to do. Okay, you have the party that's actually looking to tell the truth of what happened in history versus the other ones who can't even tell you what the Civil War was about.
Right.
Or if you're a Jewish American, hey, you have this over here, or the people that are quoting Jews will not replace us.
Right.
There is no choice on it. Or a woman that's saying, hey, look, here's a group that doesn't want you to have bodily autonomy, and here's a group who does.
Yes. Republican white women, what are you doing? You're killing us.
Or getting Native Americans to vote and go, hey, look, do you want a party that's going to respect your tribal sovereignty? Because by the way, that's on the ballot too.
Right.
You've been paying attention to what's going on at the Supreme Court. Or one that thinks that they can just come in and do willy-nilly on your tribal lands.
Right.
Or drill on it.
Right. Because he keeps saying drill, drill, drill.
Guess what he's going to drill? He's talking about opening up a pipeline, which, by the way, isn't even good oil and gas. By the way, I grew up in an oil and gas state. I can kind of talk smart about that. Okay? Those Alberta tar sands are not meant to go in your gas tank. Okay? Or two, he wants to go drill in Anwar. Okay? Up in the Arctic Circle. Oh, by the way, hey, you think the Inuits up there might want to have a little discussion about that? And by the way,
spell that like what?
The congresswoman from Alaska is, guess what? She's Native. She's Native Alaskan because she understood it and was able to convey it to them. And that's what we have to stop talking in paragraphs and start talking in bumper stickers.
Yeah, right. That's it.
And that's why we say with Elise, when it comes to her issues, Elise, we have the receipts. I was a finance officer in the Army. We have the receipts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's it.
Elise.
Does she get out and talk to the constituents out there? Does she? Hilarious.
That's the response.
Yeah.
It's no. No.
So she just basically wins off of heavy campaign donations, basically, is how she gets her edge, I guess, if you want to
run ads? Does she run ads or no?
I've never seen an ad of hers. And here's the point. She doesn't debate. Ever since she went full MAGA, she doesn't debate.
Interesting.
So we're going to do the whole empty chair thing on her.
Yes. Yeah.
Good.
Awesome.
Go, hey, everybody. I don't care what your political background is. Here's what Elise Stefanik thinks of you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Here's what she thinks of you.
Yeah. Good.
She does. Hey, if you're a Republican, she thinks your vote's for granted.
Yeah.
If you're a Democrat, she doesn't think you're going to show up to vote.
Yeah. Yep.
If an independent, she thinks you haven't picked a side, so therefore she doesn't care about you.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here talking to you about that, and even if I disagree with you, I will tell you I will take your ideas into consideration because that's the way I was cultured to do that, raised basically in my family and in my military life to saying, hey, look, we're taking everybody's opinion into consideration before we make a decision.
Right. Right.
But it's yes. Oh, by the way, if somebody put on there, Steve is also a dog owner. Yes, I am.
I meant to bring that up. Blake's looking out for you. So
that was me.
Yeah.
So I do have a couple frou-frou dogs. I have a Havanese. If they're basically like Bichons.
Yeah.
And then I have a Schnauzer Brussels Griffin mix, who just I think in a prior life she was a contortionist. And Blake actually has two dogs. You have a collie and a husky, right, Blake?
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, we have two dogs too.
I love animals.
Yeah, we have a doodle and a pointer mix.
And my wife, and for people out there that are animal lovers, my wife and I have been longtime donors to the ASPCA.
Yes.
And both of our dogs are rescue.
Yeah, good.
So,
mine too.
Yeah. So the pitch out there, everybody, hey, responsible pet ownership, hey, go out there and look to adopt. There are plenty of them out there that need it.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So
Adopt, don't shop. But as we're coming to a close because it's 9:00 and I don't want to keep you too long. I do want to get the speed round in, and then I want you to close out.
Absolutely.
Some information. Brian, before I get this speed round in. Do you have any more questions?
I mean, I could go on all night, but I do want to, I do want to, I appreciate talking to you, Steve, and listening to your views. And we, obviously we're going to do everything on our end to help you win. Yes. We understand the importance of, at the very minimum, Lana and I talked about this on our show yesterday, is at least winning the house.
We have 2 shows.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, you can come on over.
Over. Absolutely. We got another show. You can come on that one too.
Hey, listen. Hey, we'll go anywhere to get this out because there are a lot of people out there. The thing about voters in this district is there isn't a whole lot of money. I mean, a lot of them are older. You have a lot of people. Doesn't matter the political party. They're just, a lot of people living on fixed incomes, either older folks, veterans, small communities. There just isn't a whole lot.
Right.
And so any sort of support we can get out there from across the country, she has money like King Midas.
Yeah.
If we just get a fraction of what she has, we can take her down, and we can.
And I think a lot of voters may not know that, and younger voters may not know, like, you can donate to anyone. You don't have to just donate to your local politicians or like the president's campaign. You can donate to
These
anyone.
house races are just as important to donate to than any other thing you can donate to. There's no question about it.
Absolutely. Because, if you get me in there with the power of incumbency, we can get some stuff done.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is that, she is the swamp.
100%.
She if we talk about people, there are people out there who want to talk about drain the swamp. I can't think of more of a poster child for that.
No.
There might not be a politician in this country.
It's a MAGA swamp.
Well, because she also sold out her values.
Yeah.
She did. She's a dichotomy sort of the whole MAGA movement. She originally was this just sort of
moderate
Republican, and she was somewhat respected. And then she just completely did what everybody else, like the Lindsey Grahams and all these other weirdos who were so against her, and now all of a sudden are with him. I don't know what this guy, the power he has over these people, but I hope in your district you're able to shake up some voters and let them know that this is not the right direction for our country, not the right direction for them as veterans, as seniors, and as human beings.
Seniors, say that again. They're taking your Social Security. Stefanik wants to take your Social Security. Stop playing.
Yep.
And something that I will say is this. Like I said, I am sitting in Tulsa here because, and I'm brutally honest with it. I'm doing a lot of this because of people like my dad.
Mm-hmm.
He's a senior, worked his whole life, raised a family. The reason he had cancer because of the environmental runoff into the water supply. It's a cancer cluster there where I grew up. I have to be conscious of it myself with my own health. But he's probably not going to be with us for very much longer.
Sorry to hear that.
And when, he always told me, just keep up the fight. You're doing this for people like me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
there are a lot of people in this district, across the state, and across the country that are in that situation. This is real people and it's real lives.
That's
and doesn't matter what political party you are. They're taking care of your neighbors. That's something that we as Americans should do.
Yeah.
Right.
And, I'll leave that in that moment for when we start talking about, taking care of seniors.
Yeah.
So, But hey, let's go ahead.
I'm excited for the speed round.
Let's go. Speed round. I have
Let's go.
Only 8 questions. I'm going to jump right in. If you could have dinner with any historical political figure, who would it be and why?
FDR. I was raised, and reason why is the man got us out of the Great Depression, and he also got us through. He fought extremism in World War II. And by the way, one of our donors is FDR the Third.
Nice.
Oh. How about that?
Nice.
In my normal office, I have his photo that's right back behind me.
Yeah.
My grandparents were New Deal Democrats.
Nice. Awesome.
Nice.
Yes.
If you were a superhero, what would your political power be?
My political power would be to convey the truth to everyone.
That would be
like a Captain America.
We need
that would definitely be a superpower.
Yes, right.
That's why I respect Captain America.
Right.
So, yeah.
All right. Describe your political philosophy in 3 words.
Well, if you're not counting the word of, taking care of people.
I like that. Very good on the spot. Nice. Okay. If you could enact one law that would instantly improve people's lives, what would it be?
Expanding healthcare.
Nice. If you had a time machine, what era would you visit and why?
I would visit the Revolutionary War time because I wanted to see the birth of our nation.
Oh, nice.
I'm a I love, like I said, I love history. That's why I'm working on that naming commission because you got to understand history about it. That's why I would do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Favorite movie or TV show?
My favorite movie. Let's say more or TV show. Captain America. If you know this backstory of Captain America, it kind of runs the thread of kind of everything else I've been talking about.
I gotta look that up. A favorite sports team.
Okay. I'm gonna because how obvious this is. I'm gonna let my campaign manager answer this question. Who's my favorite sports team that I can't stop talking about?
As a joke, I'm going to say Syracuse Orange, but it's going to be Oklahoma Sooners.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yeah, right.
But here's the thing. I am a proud Syracuse grad, and I do root in my orange. It's just you can take a boy out of Oklahoma, but you can't take Oklahoma out of the boy. And I am a Sooners fan. And by the way, the Thunder are doing very well this year.
Yes, they are.
Even though they lost to Atlanta last night, you go beat the Celtics.
SG. Well, don't say that on this show. Lana and I are big Celtics fans.
Well, I'm going to tell you, it was.
I watched the game. It was a good game.
I would say that's probably going to be your NBA Finals right there.
That would be great.
Oklahoma and the Celtics. Wow.
Yep, we'll take that.
And growing up, if I'd ever thought Oklahoma would have had a pro team, I said, "What? The Sooners go pro?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
And by the way, watching Texas lose was very.
I'm sure you love that.
From Texas, that's nothing there against you.
No shade, Texas. No shade.
We love you.
All right, last question. If you could erect a monument that represented your vision of New York 21, what would it be?
It would be a soldier shaking a farmer's hand.
Oh, I really like that. I
think it, because the thing is those are two groups that people, I represent that, but I'm here to show that, hey, not everybody that comes from that are right-wing Trump supporters.
Yeah.
They're not. Farmers used to be strongly Democratic voters, like my grandfather.
Yep.
Strongly. And veterans back in the day used to be. You go talk to World War II veterans, there's the ones that elected Kennedy and Johnson and Carter and all of them.
Reagan changed all that.
Reagan changed all of it because of what President Eisenhower, who, by the way, I was born on his birthday, through the military-industrial complex.
Mm-hmm.
So that was why, and it was propagandized.
Yep.
So, that's a completely another discussion I can have for another time about that. But but I'll tell you, it's not the same anymore. As a group, military members are some of the most educated people on earth.
Yeah.
And they're also harder to do that. So, but that's it.
Yes, Steve. Thank you so much, Blake. Thank you so much for coming through. We hope you come on again. Wish you the best on your campaign. I'm going to give you a minute to tell people where to, volunteer, donate, your handles of all of the stuff. But before we do log off, because I forget everything, I do want to wish your family the best in this new year. Praying for your dad and all of that stuff.
Thank you. And Lana, thank you very much. And like I said, hey, he's doing it for him and people a lot like him. But just real quick, like you said there, Lana and Brian, before we get off here, you'll kind of see it there. It's real easy, believeinsteve.org. If you like that, you can thank my parents for it. So it's www.believeinsteve.org. You can go there, read more up about me, follow me on socials, and donate. Because, like I said, we need all the help we can get. Because to defeat Elise, we're going to need the resources to get out there and tell the truth to people.
Absolutely.
And so, absolutely. But, again, Lana and Brian, again, thank you so much for having me back on. I always love coming on here. And once elected, I'll come back on here even more. And
that's the plan.
Yeah.
to telling people, hey, here's what's going on in D.C. And, here's how we're fighting for the good people, not just of NY 21 of New York, but across the country. And that's the great thing about being a federal lawmaker.
Yeah.
Your influence and the things you do can affect people's lives positively everywhere.
Yeah.
So
we're rooting for you.
Thank you.
I will drop all the links and I will send you the link to the show as well, Blake. And gosh, thank you guys.
Thanks, Brian, thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Steve. We're rooting for you. We're rooting for you too, Blake. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all very much. And like I said, we'll probably get a hold of you later on as we get down the road.
Yeah.
And probably kind of focus in on some things as it's there and let folks know how the campaign's going and just kind of some of the issues out there, because 2024 is going to be crazy.
Yes,
that is our theme every week on our show. We talk about that every time.
It's never we never have an issue about putting content on our social media.
Yeah.
It's going constantly. So again, everybody, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night with you all. And like I said, believe in Steve. Let's go vote blue and let's actually save our country.
Let's do it. Thank you, Steve.
Bye-bye. Good night. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.